Cynthia and I want to thank you for having us here.
Thank you. It's been such a long time since I last saw you. You know, we worked together in the past. Many years ago.
In our past life.
In our past lives, and you both look great. Thank you for coming over.
Oh,
thank you. My experience working with you both has been nothing but pleasant.
Oh, thank you. DITTO.
Thank you. It's good to see you both. Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
How have you both been?
Oh my God,
busy.
Surprising, right?
Yeah, despite the world having stopped for 2 years, you've been alright.
A long pause.
We were in an industry where the stop was kind of, no offense, beneficial to us because people saw what was missing in their homes.
Yeah. Well, that's good, right?
Yeah. So they called us. Yeah. First, those who were happy that we did their homes really thanked us. It's like, you know, we never had a chance
to enjoy our
houses. We were so busy, but now we understand that really the TV rooms.
Yeah, the TV rooms are important. The gym are non-negotiable. The home theater.
People really had to stay home.
Yeah,
right. And I guess when you stay home, you notice all the things that you could do better.
Correct.
That's the upside.
That's the upside.
That's the upside.
Our career.
Well, good for you both.
Yeah.
Good for you both. Yeah. So there are downsides. And there are good upsides, like what you just said. But overall. We're seeing the industry pick up again ever since we went to alert level 1 several weeks ago. So things are picking up. Things are looking optimistic for as long as we don't have any more shocks from this virus. We should be all right.
We should be all right.
Yeah.
Considering from what we observed as we were coming in, that the property is so beautifully sited.
Yeah.
And Cynthia and I had the pleasure of
touring
the model units. And as interior designers, even we ourselves were impressed about
the
how
quality.
It was fitted out.
Yeah.
So the Shang is such a beautiful jewel to discover, right?
Right.
But Cynthia has a long history with the Shang property. So it comes back full circle.
With the Shangri-La Group.
The Shangri-La Group, the hotel division.
It's a large conglomerate. So there's a Shangri-La Hotels and Resorts. And we belong to the development arm called Shang Property. But it's the same conglomerate, the same group. So I was made aware that you had several projects with the hotel group, and that's good. So you've seen over the years how much attention we put into details,
and also that they really planned to do a lot of developments in the Philippines.
Well, as far as Shang Properties is concerned, the development arm which is developing this, we have good projects coming up as well. We are in a growth mode.
Good.
Yeah, we're in a growth mode. You know, the pandemic didn't stop us from looking forward and looking beyond the pandemic because, you know, we see this as some sort of a hiccup in.
For sure.
A bad hiccup, a really bad hiccup. But
you
know, as developers, we really look beyond it.
Exactly.
And it was a good time to plan and to invest.
Are you going to out? I mean, like to Cebu?
We're looking. You know, we are in a growth mode now. Our strategy has been to be very focused. But for every project we do, we put everything in. We put all the details, all the attention, all the focus, all the passion. Right?
Exactly.
And you know, you end up
and it's evident.
It's evident here.
In the show flat.
And you know, now that I'm in Shang, I really see the difference in the way things are done. It's really impressive. Whether it's a residential project or an office or a mall.
Oh yeah, of course.
And you know, I really appreciate and I've realized the kind of quality that goes into the products, the attention to detail. You know, the strategy of not wanting to be too big works very, very well because you know, you're able to put so much more attention to what's being done.
And it shows.
It shows.
It's very bespoke, one of a kind.
It shows. And that is the strategy.
And people really wait for it.
That's right. That's right.
So it's a very interesting culture, you know, because it kind of like cascades to caring. And let me share where that's coming from. I worked briefly in Singapore and years ago and decades ago. and did just some elevations for the Shangri-La there. So that was one of the oldest Shangri-La. But the way they take care of it.
That's right.
Yeah. For them,
oh my God,
no property is old. It is just a property to be tended.
I remember
very carefully.
It's the Shangri-La that's very large and very verdant.
All of that, and the way they took care of it. And since I always pay attention to the Shangri-La, EDSA and Mactan, only because I know of the part you did in it with Dennis Reedy.
Right.
So I'm always amazed at how they always upgrade their properties. No?
Yeah, correct.
It's like a company culture, no?
Well, what we have to be cognizant of, really, at least in the local industry, is that while we belong to the same conglomerate, the Kwok Group, Shangri-La Hotels, and Shang Properties are separate companies.
Right.
But you know, the culture, the heritage, the pedigree, the culture, it's all in there.
It's all one.
So it's good to see and good to know that, you know, the care and the passion that you see in the hotels, you know, it's part of the way we do things here as well. Cascades.
It's not
my favorite is the Shangri-La New Wing, no?
Yeah.
The bathrooms,
this small.
This small,
The small here.
Oh yeah.
The bathrooms are
awesome.
Wow. I mean, you know, the money spent there.
Yeah.
And it's
and you know, while you know, the hotels group maintains properties the way they do, we also have our property management group in Shang Properties, which also makes sure that we make sure that, you know, the properties that we either sell or lease or the mall, it's cared for in the best possible way. In the best possible, because, you know, developing and producing the product is one thing, but maintaining is another.
That's harder.
Correct.
The wear and tear.
And that's where excellent property management has to come in.
Correct.
Right. And, you know, for a property like this in Shang Residence, the investment that you put in here, you have to rely on good property management to see it through. Otherwise,
it doesn't make sense.
Many things can go wrong with bad property management.
Just out of curiosity, worldwide, how many places are you at? I mean, you're
well, Shang Properties it's part of the Kwok Group. But we're mainly focused here
in Asia.
No, in the Philippines. In the Philippines. There's a joint venture project in Sri Lanka. But the heart of development and, you know, the pulse of Shang Properties is really here.
Oh my God.
And mainly in the National Capital Region.
Right.
So again, we're very focused.
Right. For now.
But the plan really is to find growth centers locally, whether it's Cebu or more projects in NCR, and to do things very, very carefully and very thoughtfully, and very passionately.
That's nice.
Learning a lot and growing a lot still, huh? Within your company.
As a company, we're growing. Our portfolio is growing. We have a pipeline of land banks to be developing soon. But again, you know, the strategy is to remain very, very lean and very compact, and to do things in a very focused way.
No, we get that. We get that. Because Cynthia and I, when we started our business, we also said
it has to be boutique.
A boutique practice.
Yeah, we don't want to grow.
And the lean, the focus.
Yeah,
we get that.
No, I've been in this industry for quite some time, and it's very tempting for developers to be very, very large, to grow very large. But, you know, while that's very good for the business, there are trade-offs there.
Right.
You know, you can give less attention, for example, to each product you develop. Whereas the strategy we're taking is that, yes, we are growing, but, you know, we want to continue putting a lot of thought and a lot of care in the way we do things, from design all the way to turnovers, all the way to property management.
But, you know, if we were to talk about new normal, did anything change in the design strategy with the Shang Properties?
I think this new normal, it's a very fuzzy word.
It
can mean so many things.
Right.
But this new normal, whatever it is, it changed the entire world. Not just one company, not one city, not one country, but the entire world.
Right.
But as far as Shang Properties is concerned, like what you said, people stayed home during the last 2.5 years. And we saw behaviors change.
Right.
And that also gave us a lot of opportunities to think about the way we should plan our future projects. And even our current project, how can we change things? So, in terms of designing amenities, for example, people now, we believe, we suspect that people will continue to want space.
More than ever.
Yeah, more than ever. I personally, I don't think that's going to change even if the pandemic ends. People will want to space out a bit. So we're challenged now. How do you design amenities with that in mind, or how do you design rooms or apartment buildings in general, or units with that nuance in mind, without being reckless or without being careless, right? So this new normal, it's really forced us to rethink the way we do things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What you take for granted.
Yeah, and it's an ongoing thing, right? It's not something that we can say this new normal has done this and therefore we plan that. It's a dynamic, fluid thing, and this virus, this virus, as evil as it was, it really forced us to really think about how we can change things for the better.
And it's weird, because living in a pandemic made you realize that your house simultaneously became your office, your gym, your school, the classrooms, and the conference room.
The challenge there really is how do you design with all these things,
and also delineate spaces. Because the open planning, has been really very popular, but I think now we're more conscious of delineating areas.
One thing we realized during these series of lockdowns is people really appreciated balconies.
Yes, and there's this growth, the plantitas. I mean, it's real,
So that's a very interesting revelation, right? In the past, people might dismiss.
It's a token.
It's a token.
Right.
They might dismiss the need for a balcony. It's
more
nice
space
to have
on the inside.
more air-conditioned space. But now, we have to rethink that. Right?
It became their lifeline, honestly.
Yes. And if you look at this project, for example, we're in a model unit with a balcony there. This balcony is a 1-bedroom, but the balcony is generously spaced.
It is.
It's very generous. And the future projects we have, we're really putting a lot of thought into that. How do we harness that need and that opportunity?
I had a funny thought there. We had a funny thought. If you were doing the amenities and the extra space, you could ask the landscape designer to already incorporate the outdoor activities. Like how we go to the parks and you can do push-ups.
Correct.
And then the wall,
so that it's more intentional. Kasi you never know.
And also since the roof terraces, Kasi a lot of that was a lifesaver for a lot of condominium units.
It kept a lot of people sane to just be in a simple balcony, which
just go up, see the sky and go out. And sometimes it became their office, honestly, because there was no more space. It's like, okay, I'm taking the balcony.
So for our new projects, we're having really serious discussions with our designers on how do we start doing things better with these changes that have happened in mind.
And a lot of natural lighting.
But as far as this project is concerned, I'm very happy that those things are already being addressed. So there was some anticipation really in the way we designed this. It's very open. It's a compact lot, 3,300 square meters. Only 404 units in it, so it's quite, in the context of things, it's quite low density. 400 units, 50 stories.
Oh, that's
it's low density.
How many units per floor?
It's a mix.
Yeah, I can't be too sure. But I would say it's about 8. It's 50 stories, 400. It's about 8.
Not bad.
So it's low density, very low density in the context of high density developments. Because many towers, you have 15, 20, 30 units in one floor.
True.
So with the fear of of COVID, for example, or whatever else might be out there, you know that you have a lot of room around you.
A concern.
It's a concern.
It's a concern.
So yeah, 8 units per floor on the average.
That's
The units, only 1, 2, 3, and special units. 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom special units. So the smallest ones are 81 square meters for a 1 bedroom like this. And the special units, the very select special units, they go 400 or 500 square meters.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Up in the sky.
The place up in the sky.
So, when this project is
Sky's the
finally,
limit.
when it's finally turned over, I don't expect the residents to feel that they are cloistered
Or cramped.
That's
or
wonderful.
cramped, which
That's
is very important.
Very important.
Very important.
In what year?
Well, the pandemic changed all schedules,
Of
right?
course,
Because
right.
we couldn't even build during the pandemic.
True.
Yeah, everything stopped.
Right.
But now we're looking at completing between 2024 to 2025. 2024.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's on track. Yeah.
For as long as there are no more stoppages or surprises.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
2 years is just
Did you have a question? Did you use a lot of technology in this development, like smart, the gadgets? And
No. All the innards of the project and all the deliverables will really be what we normally deliver for high-end and luxury products.
Right.
But if you're asking me if we used special technology,
Right.
all these fancy gadgets, no.
Right,
And we didn't see a need to go over the edge with these deliverables.
correct.
Because our market for this project is very select
Right.
and very particular, and the product alone
Speaks for itself.
It speaks for itself.
Speaks for itself.
I
It speaks
know.
for itself,
We
right?
walked in and it's like, where do I sign?
We don't see a need to put all the bells and whistles because the finishes they speak for themselves. The
Yeah, I
location,
saw your
Right.
reports.
the design,
Yeah.
Location.
And the location. Yeah, very good.
Because it's so interesting, because you know what? I remember, I thought of Jojo Concepcion right away, of Concepcion Industry, the aircon guys. Because right away I called him. Right, pandemic's like, Jojo, shouldn't you start asking your engineers to go back to all the hospital installations, and shouldn't you retrofit for HVAC for the filters, right? And then he said, "Oh, you gave me a new business." I said, "No." I said, "Doctors are calling me, asking me how to mitigate for better air," and I'm like, "You're the solution. It's not
the air circulation."
Well, George is a very innovative person.
Diba? You're the solution.
So pretty much it's
You owe
coming.
me a ref, Jojo.
What happened over the last 2.5 years really, it's really forcing designers, not just in our industry, but all over, to see all of these opportunities coming in.
Right.
And that's one of the things that because we have restaurants,
Right.
and all of a sudden, the acrylic thing solution came up, the part, and then I said, no, we're not going to do that. No, we're not, because we're just going to add to the waste, the toxic waste.
Right.
Because I called right away. Our friend who does a lot of hospitals,
Danny
si Danny Chaco. I said,
Okay,
Dan, for this
Dan,
right, Danny
Architect.
Chaco. I said, Dan,
Archeon.
for this acrylic panel to be effective, what heights am I looking at?
To the ceiling.
Gotta be over the head, gotta be tall, gotta be. If we're not gonna do it right, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
Right? Because
You're talking about these things now, and one thing I really appreciate about the way we do things in Shang is that we do actual mock-ups of the units. We do timber mock-ups. This is something very new to me because I never did that in the past. We're very strict that before we build a project, we find a space where we can really mock up
the exact conditions,
the space planning in scale.
Right.
It might be plywood or whatever, but at least you feel it.
Right.
And there you see, is the ceiling height good enough? Is the bathroom enclosures, are they wide enough? You walk it, right? And we did it here. And works perfectly well. Other developers, they do these things on paper, or at most maybe CAD. But to actually mock up
I love
a unit,
mock-ups.
it does wonders.
I'm a firm believer of mock-ups.
It does wonders.
Because from the States, that's an SOP.
Yeah.
Now we would do paper mock-up for furniture, and it really helps a lot because you can actually tour the space and see if there's a space for a big lounge chair or a small lounge chair. Exactly what you do for the shell, we're doing for everything inside.
I'm not aware of any developers locally that go to that extent. Right? And that's what I mean when I say that Shang Properties put so much thought into the way things are done, that we go to the extent of, if there are 8 models in one building, we will mock up 8 models.
That's great.
And we will make changes even up to the inches if we feel it's necessary.
It's great.
It's all in the details, right?
Yeah, and it's better to catch it there.
Correct.
And you can also, innovate, no?
Yeah.
You see something and you're like, we can improve on this.
Yeah.
We can actually,
Many things you will not catch on paper.
Definitely.
When
it's so one-dimensional.
But when you walk it and you feel the spaces around you, even to the details of the floor-to-ceiling height, then
and especially in your business, grabe multipliers.
That's right.
That's right. One wrong mistake will be multiplied 50 floors. Can you imagine?
What I always tell people in this industry, you have one chance to build a project.
Right.
And that project is going to outlive all of us.
True.
So it's going to be a monument to your success or a monument to your failure. So we better
Let's
get it right.
Success.
We better get it right. And if I look at this project, it's definitely going to be a monument to success.
We
cheers to that.
We can tell. We see it.
It's going to be a fantastic project.
Cheers to that. Most people stayed home. Like, for instance, for 2 years you stayed home and the world was VUCA, right? Volatile and uncertain, all that. Logically, you will not want to invest, but now that things have settled down, what would you advise people like us? We just kept our money safe.
We didn't travel. What are the opportunities?
I would say that's a very natural and normal option to take, which is parking money somewhere until the market picks up. But if we look historically backwards in the Philippines, at the worst of times, during the assassination of Ninoy Aquino, the Asian financial crisis, the global financial crisis, all the 7 coups during Cory's time.
Oh my God!
We've been through a lot. And if you look back historically, property has always been the investment of choice. Right now, I can't say that it's like that in the whole world, but at least in the Philippines, property values have always held up. Of course, they plateau and they dip a bit, but overall, it's an upward line.
Nice to know.
So, if you're asking me what investments are good during good times and even bad times, I would say property has always shown its strength.
And aside from location, I understand that the developer also adds premier, to the cost.
Of course.
Of course. Right?
You've heard nightmare stories really of developers who abandon the project midway. These developers, they shouldn't even be in the industry, right? But when you talk about developers like Shang, where there's so much pedigree and heritage and history that go back, it's an assurance that when you put your money in a property that we're developing, you will get that value.
Right.
You will get value. So people are looking for outlets for investments now. And, as a developer, I would say that property has always shown
good promise.
Very, very good promise. Very good promise.
Okay,
there you have it. You can start investing again.
And it's property prices have gone up. Even during the pandemic, we didn't really see property prices crash. They didn't.
They held.
They held very, very well. And even now, so people who bought before the pandemic, people who bought during the pandemic, they're happy.
They're in a good place.
They're in a good place, and it's just going to go upwards unless something really unexpected and horrible happens. But we don't see that coming.
Oh my God.
We don't see that coming.
We don't want to see any more coming.
Yeah. And the only thing that can
We're done with that.
The only thing that can really affect property values in this country, I think, are external shocks.
Yeah,
right?
Correct,
but
correct.
again, we've had so many of them in the past. That,
We've become resilient.
Yeah, and still the values of properties have held, whether it's open lots or
Developed.
or condominiums or office buildings. They've held up.
Nice to know.
They've held up.
Good to know. As kasi, parang, because of our long friendship, you in, of course, what you do best, developing, and us what we do best, interior design. What Cynthia and I discovered during the pandemic was that people really became more aware of their environment.
True.
No choice, by force.
By
Correct.
force.
Correct.
Yeah.
And because we're talking about investment, we're not pitching this for Atelier Almario. We're pitching it for the whole interior design industry. I think hiring an interior designer is also a good investment.
Yes,
Right?
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No?
You
Definitely.
front spend, but
Yeah. And
But you needed it.
the way we do things in Shang Properties is that the
Yeah.
interior designer is on board at the start of the project.
Yeah.
Even when things are being done on paper,
yeah.
still on paper.
Right,
Before any hole is dug on the ground, they're already part of the core team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's very important to us, and that's the way we do things here.
True.
And it's the correct way.
And it's
It's a
correct.
real
the correct
collaboration.
way. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to see how the specialists interact with one another in our projects, the architects, with the engineers, with the interior designers, with the landscapers. You know, they're all there, present in very important meetings where decisions have to be made.
Right.
And the interior designer particularly is a very central part of that core team.
Yeah, and then kasi right now I'm talking about the real world where you're in Netflix and you see a lot of do-it-yourself shows and you see a lot of makeovers and you know, I'm not saying this to dissuade you from becoming, you know, redoing your house and all, but when it comes to really investing and it's your one-time big-time dream, as Gigi said, hire the right professionals.
Correct.
Because it will show in the end product.
And it will save you money, eh?
And it will save you money.
Because it's so expensive to redo things.
To make a mistake,
yeah.
Oh, it's so expensive nowadays. Right?
You know, there are some things I believe that you should not take shortcuts on.
Yeah.
And one of
non-negotiables.
And one of them is investing in a home, developing a project, or designing a home.
Right.
So, you know, some things you just don't compromise.
Yeah. Because it's a one-time, big-time investment.
You pay the price later on.
Yeah. At saka you can take your time, right?
Because you could take your time about
just do the correct interior architecture and then do a space. If you're not ready, just invest in good furniture and then work your way towards the other areas.
Or, you know, there's brand strength. Like when you say Almario, Atelier Almario, you know you're going to get what you want. When you say Shang Properties, you know that the home you're buying is going to come to you the way it was committed.
Yes.
I wouldn't take shortcuts at certain things.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
It's really an investment.
It's really, and then also, you know, things don't happen overnight because reputations are built because people really naman did the homework and there was a conscious decision to excel in that particular field. Because even on a hard day for us, Cynthia and I, 99.9% of the time, we will make the right decision. Like you're tired and all. Your knee-jerk reaction will be, do you think that this should be 0.30 or 0.75? 0.30. Yeah. No, let's not do it in wallpaper. This has to be veneer. I mean, those decisions that for us are just par for the course will be the wrong decisions for those who don't do it on a daily basis.
It's the wealth of experience.
Yeah, and to assume that that's easy to do. it would be a disservice to themselves.
Yeah.
True.
Right.
No shortcuts to success.
There's no shortcuts, really.
Day in, day out, working hard.
I've been in this industry long enough to say that that if you want to invest in property, you may as well just go all the way. Do the best you can.
Yes.
Of course, it's not a small investment.
That's
but
true.
if you're willing to invest, then you may as well just do the most you can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you do that, then you put your money where you're assured that it's going to be delivered to you.
So it's like the best of the best with the best.
I'm very happy and I'm very honored really to be part of this company because we know how to do things. The group knows how to do things, and I'm talking as somebody who is new in the company, fairly new.
Yes.
So I can speak with a fresh pair of eyes.
Yeah, of course.
The products we developed, this project is. It's really good.
And I can really feel your passion, your excitement, and gratitude, for being part of this company,
One thing I really enjoy about being part of a developer is that the products you deliver, they change lives.
Exactly.
It's true.
You change lives. Right? It's not like selling a can of soft drinks. But here you really change lives.
That's what we have all in common.
It's very fulfilling.
And we heard a lot of thank yous during the pandemic with our clients.
It's very fulfilling.
It's life-changing now.
They called us.
They called and said thank you. It's just now that we're appreciating the house that you built for us. But thank you because we can really enjoy our bedroom, our home theater, our gym.
That's right.
And they said, before I didn't understand why you insisted on this, but thank God you insisted because we're enjoying it.
Yeah.
So those are music to our ears, and it's also our responsibility.
It's very true. I don't think people who tell you that are sugarcoating it. It's really true.
It's true. And it's during the pandemic as the CEOs were at home. So they were thanking us.
The wifeys were stressed. I'm still here. 2 years later, I'm still here.
And he's like, can you just come in and just make sure that his office is well outfitted so he never comes out of the office.
It's already like, hi Coach, you should buy another party for you, honey. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time.
It's fantastic.
It's nice to catch up.
Fantastic catch up.
And I like your new digs.
This will be a very good project. I can assure that.